had Abraham. Abraham had two sons.
I was actually hoping for a while.
Isaac was the line that's Joseph. This knows the modern day Arabs or modern day Muslims. Isaac, he had Jacob and Esau. Esau, Edom was the first Caucasian. And then he was the reincarnation of king.
He couldn't cross the line.
Don't do it. Had 12 sons. He gave 12 sons. To them was promised to be the nation that rules the other nations, keeping in subjection to the law of Yahweh Shem Shai.
Hey, you know it's mental?
That's the law that all of them are.
I did it three.
Because without the law,
right here, bro. I got it right here. It's Genesis 17:21.
All these chapter right now.
Where it reads, but my covenant will I establish with Isaac, okay, which Sarah shall hear unto thee at this set time in the next year. So he basically made a premonition that he was speaking to actually Abraham. Yeah, you gotta remember, he told him even before Isaac was born that he was gonna get the promise. And then he says it again if you jump over to and this is the next chapter, so this is 18, Genesis 18 and 18, and it reads, saying that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. So basically all the nations that came out of Abraham, right, will be blessed. But see, people get confused because there's a lot of nations that came out of Abraham, all right, but Isaac got the promise, right?
Because the Caucasians came out of Abraham, the blacks, the natives, and the Latinos came out of Abraham.
Yeah, the Middle Easterns came out of Abraham.
All like the Bible being looked at in this. That's really interesting.
Right. Well, you got to deal with the bloodlines. People don't.
And you got to deal with this.
Well, to be honest, it's not taught because there's a gag order on it.
Yeah.
What's the 105C3?
Yeah.
It's the government document that every single church that's basically church
Where you can't teach the bloodlines of the Bible. So basically, who the nations are and who their forefathers are, and you can't teach about the color of the people that are spoken of in the Bible. And what's the other one that they don't allow you?
captivity.
Oh yeah, they don't allow you to teach about the captivity of the Israelites or the captivity of the heathens, which is not come yet, but it is coming. It's a future prophecy. So just in Genesis, and then when they're born, which I'll jump over.
25.
Yeah, I got it. I was holding it. I was actually gonna bring it out, but then I skipped past it. So Genesis, I'm gonna start at 23. This is Genesis 25 and 23, same chapter, and it reads, "And the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb," right? So two different nations. Two manners of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Two completely separate people from one bowel, from one woman's vagina.
Right. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. All right. And when her days to be.
You'll judge somebody else.
Hell no.
Oh, sorry, we don't have to do that
Right.
again, though.
That's what he was talking, right?
And then she kind of threw me off, but here's 20, down to verse 24, and it reads, "And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and his name was called Esau." So you got your Bible? Flip it around. So these are, when you think of, so people are called now, you know, everything's generalized by color. It's white people, it's black people, whatever. Technically, man, nobody's white and nobody is black. You know what I'm saying? Like the brother's shirt over there is black, right? You know, the undershirt I have on is white. We're all different shades of red or brown. So when Esau was born, he came out red. The Bible makes a distinct mention of it because he was the first one. He was the first one that was ever born like that. So really, to be honest, he's the forefather of all white people. He's their original forefather, and he came out of a black man. All right. So a lot of people don't know that, but they don't even care. So like I said, and remember how we read earlier that the elder would serve the younger. It's been reversed. If you look at history, that hasn't happened yet. All right. We've never had, or not necessarily myself, but just us as a race, as Israelites, as a race, have never held Edomites, which is what their biblical nationality is actually called, have never held them in captivity. Even we warred with each other, even though we was brethren, but we've never took them in captivity. It was the other way around, which is where the judgment piece starts to come in later.
That's actually a prophecy that's written a few books later in Deuteronomy.
So
where it says that you shall go into Egypt again by way of ships.
So I will read down to 26, and after that came his brother. Okay, came his brother out, and his heel or his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. All right. And then it explains how old Isaac was. If you read it, he was 70 years old.
About 7,
Right, he was an older guy. Well, in our standards, people live longer in the Bible, right? Or at least they say
no
that's
pollution, man.
right. No pollution, yeah, no GMO foods. But you could probably live that long, to be honest. But the world's so jacked up, you can't. So, and then it reads, you know, there's distinct differences between them, which is how we get the generation, that separation of who's who. Because all the nations are really described, but these are the two main characters of the whole Bible. You know, other than Christ himself and God. And then it goes on to read, and it reads, oh, and basically when I said he was holding his heel, they were fighting in the womb for who's going to get out first. So in all reality, it's been a race war going on since our forefathers was born. So I'll read to you, man. This is 27, and it reads, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field. All right, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So virtually Esau, he liked to hunt. He was a fantastic hunter.
He was an outdoorsman.
He was an outdoorsman, which a lot of Edomites today still have that same trait.
Shit, he also said that his parents, he was aborted because he was a leper.
Right.
He was the first one to have, or he had, other than Cain himself, but he had that mark of Cain, that red skin. So he couldn't really be in the house because you can't be around somebody that has leprosy like that because they're unclean. Right. Sorry.
No, you're good. So then, and Jacob being a plain man, he didn't really do nothing. You know, like to put it in, you know, normal, I guess, or a futuristic sense.
He like to kick it in the house.
Right, he just like to kick it at the house, play video games, or you know, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And those are characteristics that we have. No, honestly, like I don't want to go nowhere. Most of the time, I'd rather
just came out.
Right. If I didn't have to leave the house, I wouldn't. You know. And then it goes on, this is 28, and it says, and Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, and Rebekah loved Jacob. So, you know,
daddy's boy, mama.
Right. Which a lot of our nation, man, a bunch of mama's boys.
Our dads ain't in the house.
Our dads ain't in the house for the most part.
Look at it reverse, you know. Well, for the most part, white dudes own businesses. They hand their businesses down to their sons, so on and so forth. That's how they've lived.
And Jacob sought pottage, and Esau came from the field and was faint, so he was hungry, man, after a long day of hunting. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore, red pottage is basically like raw meat. Okay, so he had basically like a slab of raw meat he had medium rare. And he said, I am faint, therefore, and his name was called Edom.
Edom in the Hebrew means faint.
Right. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do me? So basically, he gave up his birthright, which
of being the firstborn.
Of being
like
the
if you're a
firstborn.
king, you know, and you have two sons. The son that you have first is going to be your heir, right? He's going to be the next king.
Right.
I mean, his brother's still going to be taken care of his whole entire life. He won't become king unless his other brother dies.
Right. Oh, and you don't have it here.
No.
That's generally how that goes.
Right.
So for the most part, he just gave it up for a piece of raw meat, which was a very profane thing to do in the sight of the Lord.
And that's actually a vibration or a spirit that's on people today. They want everything now. People don't have patience.
Right.
You know, if they're hungry, they want to eat now. They don't. They got a meal at home. Well, let me just stop and eat this flesh burger from McDonald's for
Right.
a while.
And that's a really good insight piece, the spirit versus the flesh. That's what this whole book is really dealing with in a sense. You have the spiritual man, which is the man that can see with his sixth sense, and you have the man in the flesh that would do something like eat or otherwise have the blessing of the Lord.
Because he could have waited and let Jacob finish the pottage and ate better. That's what he chose to eat now. He was like, man, the meat's not even done. I don't even care. Let me eat this. And that's another trait. And that's a trait that's been passed down to the generations. That's why I actually work as a server. I used to work as a server. Right. And I used to, take people's orders, and they would ask for medium rare meat all the time.
Majority of the full blown, generally tell, because it's a lot of our, like, you know, we don't necessarily base
It's
it
not about
off that.
color. It's about the spirit.
Right. We don't necessarily base it off the fact, because a lot of our people will eat bloody meat too, because they've been taught to. But, you know, it's just, it goes in line with that spirit. Because a lot of us don't. Like, I can't stand bloody meat.
I gotta have mine though.
Right.
So what you guys are doing here as a whole is like bringing awareness to, you know, the background of the Bible. Like
Yeah,
the
just
things that
literally what the Bible's about. that
What
people
it's
don't
really
know.
about. Because people think that it's necessarily like a guideline, which there is guidelines in the Bible.
Which are the laws.
Which are the laws.
Nobody follows.
Which Americans do not push that vibe out whatsoever. And in the churches they don't either. But when you read the Bible, it's more or less it's a history book.
About this.
And to be honest, a lot of historians or archaeologists, they have proven over and over and over that a lot of these things really happen. So for people to not really believe in the Bible, it's almost blasphemous because it goes hand in hand with history. If you were to really go back and
Even
you know,
the prophecies that are happening as we speak right now.
right. I mean, even what happened in the Dark Ages in the Bible. But people, that history is so grim and basically damning to the white man that they don't even want to talk about it. They're just like, nah, you know, we don't know what happened for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And then we started keeping history again. Come on, man. Like you couldn't fool nobody with that. You know, that's why you got kids out up here. A couple years back, we're ready to walk out of class because they're trying to take slavery out of class. So, and it's not necessarily that we ain't out here to. We can push this a whole lot of different ways. We get into arguments with people, and because we know what we read, we don't read anything that we are perceiving.
Like
Right.
the scripture say, man, we know what we worship and
Hey, you got
people
the
don't
culture.
know what they worship. That's
Right.
the problem. You know, people have been sitting in churches for generations not reading their Bibles. Their Bibles
Right.
are collecting dust.
Exactly. And I
We come out here and our Bible's looking like this.
I was
know.
finding this super interesting. You know, I just started, on my own time reading the Bible more.
Right.
I finished with the Gospel of Matthew, and I just got on, finished Ephesians. Now I'm kind of trying to decide what I want to go for. I just,
Hey, it's spiritual too that he didn't just pick it up and start reading it from front to back.
oh, thank you.
You know, I think
also
he got a
wanna say,
card already.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
I would just say
I think so.
it's not about your skin color, or like what you look like. It's about who you are through the seed of your father. So we're gonna have Israelites that are of these people that look like they're Chinese,
Right.
or look like they're
Or look,
Japanese or
whatever
Samoan.
nation. They're gonna look like everybody.
Because these people have been in captivity in almost every land on the planet Earth. So, like take a brother that looks like this one, send him to Japan for the rest of his life. Say, he takes a wife, marries her, he has kids with that wife, that kid goes on to have another kid with another Japanese woman. The seed, he's gonna lose that trait, he's gonna lose his features. He's not gonna look like this guy anymore. He's gonna look like one of the Japanese guys.
Right. So, which people seem to not be able to, a lot of people can't wrap their mind around that.
Yeah, it's like a modern, between like these last like 50 years, it's been taught that what you look like is who you are.
Right.
And that's all.
And I hate that.
It's not.
even-
it's not
even
the truth.
to-
Yeah.
It's not the truth.
Just like if you were to take an apple seed and put it in the soil in America or put it in Australia, it's still going to be an apple seed. That's the
Right.
same thing with, the egg and the sperm.
Right.
No matter what egg it happens to be, the sperm is the seed. The sperm is where you begin. It begins in the nutsack, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, that's why the Lord deals with men as well. Because women get this thing, because women are supposed to be in subjection to the Bible.
They really,
This whole women right thing is a modern thing, which I get it, man. Like, don't fucking beat your women. Like, you're on saying do that, but they're not supposed to be above a man.
Right. And they're not supposed to
Adam
be
was
subjecting you.
God.
You know what I'm saying?
Eve was made for Adam. Adam
Right.
was a natural order.
Well, even the word itself, at the most base root, it means servant. So that's what and we're not trying to run off on subjects,
Yeah, no, I got you.
but just that whole concept. That's what's really got this place fucked up.
Yeah.
Just
Like,
because the orders are messed up
Right.
everywhere you turn. They don't follow any of the laws.
Yeah, and
and then they basically, and the scriptures say it as well. I forget what verse it is right now, but it says, "Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil." So woe unto them that are basically saying, "Yeah, man, homosexuality is a good thing." That
Right.
spreads disease.
or even it stops procreation, which the Lord actually, that's like a
That's a
commandment.
law.
It's a law.
That's a lot of things that
Then, you know, you got bi people that would get and go pop a man's butthole and go fuck a woman in her vagina without a condom. And then the straight dude comes through and gets with that same girl. Now he's got it.
Right.
No, you're saying, you know, that's the struggle I've been going through. You know, I want to be open-minded. I want to, respect as many people as I can. And it's hard in this day and age to be respectful, to love people,
Right.
and to respectfully disagree
That's
with
why
what they're doing.
Right.
Like,
I got a scripture for it.
you know, and I feel like I can't do that. You know,
Right.
like I have friends.
Right.
That's why the Lord
Yeah.
says, love not the world, even the things that are in the world. So we're not supposed to, necessarily love everything that we're supposed to hate a lot of these things, because that's the spiritual battle. Because if you don't hate it, then you're cool with it. If you're cool with it, the Lord sees it as, you don't have a stance.
Well, in the scriptures,
Like
it's
it
called
says,
being lukewarm.
like it says, don't be either. I'd rather be either hot or cold. If it's lukewarm, I'm spew down my mouth.
Right.
So if you're
Not that that's your
pro
situation,
scriptures, then
No,
not
I
saying
but
that's
just
No, yeah, I mean, honestly, just my approach to everything.
Right.
I was raised in a Catholic faith.
Yeah,
Right.
same.
I identify as, as Catholic,
Right.
not necessarily agree with all the spectrum of
Right.
views, but, I just, I believe, we're called to love, and, not necessarily agree or condone anything that other people might do, but, yeah.
Which makes sense, yeah. I mean, we grew up, man, when we used to get in fights, because this is my little brother, man. We used to get in fights, my grandma would make us say the rosary, man.
I said probably like 20.
Like, more than I ever even want to acknowledge that I've said. But, so I understand where you're coming from
Yeah.
with that doctrine. But what I grew up to learn was
That they lied to
That they lied, yeah. That there was a lot of things, because there's certain things like, I'm trying to think of like because in the Catholic Bible, there's bits and pieces of the Apocrypha in it.
And I'm gonna just say this real quick too. The Catholic organization is probably one of the richest organizations on the planet, and they don't do anything to help the other people that are struggling. They, like, you watch
I
it
mean,
the
on the
other day.
surface,
Yeah.
they give that appearance like, okay, we did this for this person, we did this for that person. But for as much money as they
Oh yeah,
make,
it's
it's outrageous.
And then we even we were watching another brother bring it out, and I didn't really know this myself, but they actually have ties with the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
And the elitists that actually own most of the world's wealth and land.
Well, just to go further back, like if you say that you committed a crime during 1400, or not, even further than that, 1300. Say you commit a crime in that time, so you kill a man or something. The church gives you now a debt, and they basically would rebuke you until you pay that debt. Or say that you married a woman and her family was in subjection to the church. You take on that debt.
Because they tell you they're about faith, but really this is about money. They're about filthy the poor. That's why they execute people smooth things.
Right.
Because if we came out here and we're like, hey man, everybody saying love everybody, everyone gather, sit down, pray with us, do this, you would have this whole block probably filled with chairs, people laying out beach chairs and stuff.
And like I said, we do.
Scriptures are bitter and sweet.
Right.
See?
Right.
You can't just, pour the sweet without the bitter.
But like I was saying, man, so what they would basically require of you is, what would basically happen is you would acquire this amount of gold, and some people would do it in a way where, they did it over a long period of time. Some people would die before they could ever pay their debt, or you basically steal this amount of gold, find this amount, whatever it takes to get it, and you could go present it to a priest,
And then
your sins are all gone.
Blood on the treasure chest.
Right. There could be blood spread across the treasure chest, but as long as you bought that that tribute to the church, now you're a holy man. Which is more or less the way that the Catholic Church is making money since it's So there's a lot of shady.
I would say that we're making progress. Well, I'm not like, I really would not say I'm like all about the Catholic Church.
Right.
And that, I'm not about that.
Right.
It is making progress.
Got a good spirit. I don't know. I would bring it out. I mean, they were touching on the confusion of faith portion of it. I think they may have. Yeah. He wouldn't be sitting here. He's got a humble spirit.
And I noticed that too, right when you walked up, I saw him in front of my eye, and I was trying to figure out what the fuck is that.
Let me see that sign.
Go on.
That sign right there. Alright. So you see this image, right? This is the actual man. This is the son of God.
Yeah,
His name is Cesare Borgia. Alright, this man's probably one of the wickedest people to ever walk the planet Earth. He not only was homosexual.
His father was
Alright, this is where his father set him up to be this. But was
He was actually changed his name to Alexander.
He's actually the reason you have Valentine's Day. Right? He found out that his other homosexual lover was popular. Killed his entire family. Right? And then had a dinner after. With his bloody hands.